Hey guys, welcome to Subpar Stitches. My name is Hillary and this is my very first Flosstube video. I figured I'd give you a really quick introduction of myself and then we can get into why you're really here, and that is to see my FFOs from recent years. I don't have like a huge pile of them, just a few to show you. I have some whips that I'm currently working on, and then I have kind of a decent haul to show you from what I've picked up in just the last month. And then I figured we could talk about plans so that you guys would know what to expect from my channel. So just really quick about me, like I said, my name is Hillary. Did I say that? I already don't know. My name is Hillary and I am 30 years old. I'm from Michigan. And I have been stitching for 12 years. I started when I was 18 when I got to college because I used to be really big into knitting, and I couldn't really bring a lot of my knitting stuff with me to my dorm because it was small and I was sharing a room. And so I was trying to find a hobby that was a little bit more compact, a little bit smaller. I mean, joke's on me now because I'm surrounded right now by cross-stitching stuff. I have an entire closet for cross-stitching stuff. But at the time, you know, I was doing one project at a time and it was small enough that I could just stick it in my desk when I wasn't doing it. My past self would be terrified of the collection that I have amassed. I've actually been on YouTube for almost 3 years now. I started with another channel called Mediocre Mannies, and it is all about nail polish. That is my other passion in life. I love nails. Love nail polish, as you might be able to tell if you watch my channel. I will link that channel down below if you're interested, and if you're not like somebody who came here directed from that channel, you know, if you got here organically, I will link it down below so you can check it out if you're interested. I mostly just do like reviews and talk about nail polish and stuff like that. The reason I decided to start this Flosstube channel is the exact same reason I started my nail channel. I didn't have any friends that stitched. I still don't. Just like I didn't have any friends who were big into their nails, and I just needed an outlet and I wanted to connect with people who were also into this hobby. And so I decided to start this channel. I want to meet other people who are into this hobby so I can have somebody to talk to, because I think my boyfriend's really sick of me yammering on and on and on about this pattern or that pattern because he just doesn't understand it. So I want some stitchy friends, you know? I think my biggest inspiration to start my channel though was I've been watching Cam the Stitcher recently on YouTube, and I just love her energy. I love her channel. I'm not even all the way done watching all of her videos yet, but she just made it look so fun. And then through her, I found like Marjorie Maid and I think like the Museum Stitcher and a lot of other people. And so I've just been watching so much Flosstube, and I just decided, you know what? I've got a ring light. I know how YouTube works and I want to do this. So that's what we're doing. So yeah, that's just a super quick like background on me. I'm sure I'll tell you way too much about myself in the future because I just love to talk in front of a camera, it seems. But yeah, let's get into some of my FFOs. I figured I'd just show you some of my recent FFOs that I've made just in the past handful of years. Up until recently, I've given away most of my stuff because I always felt like, oh, I can't make something for myself. It always has to be a gift. So I don't have really that many lying around my house, but I just figured if I show you what I've made, maybe you'll get a feel for the type of stuff I like to make, although I am branching out. So first up, you probably saw this in my thumbnail. It's covered in dust. This is Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster, and this is by Granny Panties on Etsy. It is stitched on, it looks like, sometimes I have a hard time telling the difference between 14 and 18 count. I think it's 18 count Ada. And this, at the time that I made this, which was back when I was still in college, this was the biggest piece I had ever done. And my mom had this framed for me, which I just recently had one of my own projects framed by myself for the first time. Like, I paid for it. Framing's expensive, so thank you, Mom, for paying to have this framed. I just really loved the squirrels with the gun banner. I thought that was funny. And I really like modern takes on like old time styles. And obviously this is really, really modern, but it's like a sampler piece, but it's very modernized. So I really enjoy stitching stuff like that. And any patterns that I can find, especially like the older ones, anything that I mention, I'll try to link down below for you guys if I can find it. Around that same time, I stitched this QR code. Don't try to scan this. It goes to a wildly lewd website. I'm not even gonna tell you which one it is because it's so gross. I'm sorry. I thought it would be funny. I was like 20. It is funny. I think it's funny. This is the first project that I ever tried to like FFO myself, because everything else at this point I had gotten professionally framed. It looks so bad. Like, the back. Do we see this? Like, I don't even remember. There's like some fabric in there that I bought. I bought like a fat quarter of something and then cut it out so that it would cover up the back. And that part's cute. I like that. But then I just glued the excess fabric to the mini hoop. I have since seen better ways to do this. I have not tried it. I haven't hoop finished anything since I did this because this is so ugly. But I have a couple hoop finishes that I want to do in the future, so give me a chance to practice. I just made that pattern by putting a website into a QR code generator, and then I stitched it all in one go, and I was like, man, I hope this works, and it did. So, but if you make a mistake on a QR code pattern, like stitching it, I don't think it'll work. So it's kind of risky. I bought the Stitch People book way back when. You could see this is like 2015, and I made this little stitch of myself and my boyfriend. I almost said at the time. He's still my boyfriend. He's the same boyfriend. Yeah, so it says Hillary and Rob. That's obviously our names, and I stitched this in 2015, so I put a 2015 at the bottom, but we've been together for like 10 years, so I don't remember what year that equates to. But yeah, these were like this clothes that we used to wear all the time. I always wore a red flannel, and then I had purple Converse, I believe, purple Converse, and then my boyfriend always wore black shoes, and he had this blue, like navy blue hoodie. We have since lost that. So yeah, I just thought it was cute. Again, my mother had this professionally framed for me. It looks very nice. I'm so grateful. And I don't think this frame shop exists anymore, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, I've gotten so much use out of the Stitch People book. I only have the base book and then some of the freebies that they've given out. I think there's other books now I haven't kept up, but I have made so many gifts for people just using the Stitch People book. It is such a, like, if there's a pattern book that you're going to use over and over and over again, Stitch People is the book. This one I made, it was a gift to my boyfriend. He loves Kirby, and I have a lot of things that just hang on doorknobs in our home. I don't know when that started or why that happened, but we just have a lot of weird like doorknob ornaments, and so this is one of them. This one hangs on our pantry door. And I saw somebody on Reddit make this, and they shared the pattern. I don't think it was much of a pattern. I think it was just like pixel art that, you know, they converted into this. And I just bought some chain from Joann's, and I stitched it on a white plastic canvas, and I just chained it all together. And this is actually, I would say, the weirdest finish I've ever done. I really haven't branched out on finishing, and that's something I'm really looking to do this year. But yeah, I don't know, I just thought this was so precious. I've never really played a Kirby game, but my boyfriend is obsessed with Kirby. He thinks he's super cute, which he is. I have another super little finish. This is the bee from Adventure Time. I stitched this guy on a clear plastic canvas, and I started it last year when I was on vacation. Actually, this was like something I stitched. I was on my birthday vacation, and I was just in the hotel, and I started working on it, and then I got mostly done, and I threw it in a project bag, and it sat in my closet until about 2 weeks ago, and I was like, Hillary, it's like 15 more stitches, just finish it. So I finished it, and then I had to order magnets, and I was like, I want a stronger magnet, and I got, how do you say it? It's like neodymium or neodymium or whatever. Those really, really strong magnets you can see here. It's like a sticker, and I stuck it on here. Big mistake. The canvas that I got is like way too flexible. So, and the magnet is too strong. So when I try to pull it off the fridge, it just bends the canvas. So you have to like slide it off of the fridge to take it off. But I still have like 5 more of these magnets, so I'm just gonna use them on other little cross stitch magnets and then never buy that strong of a magnet ever again. But I just, oops, you know, but it's so cute. We don't really put anything on our fridge anyways. We just put the magnets that, because I make all of our magnets. I've done like perler bead magnets and now I'm doing cross stitch magnets. I don't know. Magnet culture confuses me. I don't actually like having papers on my fridge or anything on the fridge, but the magnets are fine. I don't know. Yeah, he's cute. Come along with me. And I think I found that pattern on Pinterest like a bajillion years ago, so I don't really know if I'll be able to find that one again. This is my, you can see my ring light in it. I don't know what else to do. But this is my biggest finish to date. When I started this, it was the beginning of 2020, like January. I went out and I bought all this stuff, and thank God I did, because it gave me something to do for the next 2 years while I was stuck at home. This was such an undertaking for me because I wasn't really a full coverage girl until I did this. You guys, this, the gray, what I think this is like 168 or something like that. Oh, like the first page is literally just gray. It was hard to do because it was just very dull, and I'm gonna move this. At the time I was a monogamous stitcher. I felt like I had to finish one project before I was allowed to do the next one. So it dragged, you know, and that was sad. I think this is around 60,000 stitches. I can't remember. It's a free pattern somebody made, and I will post the blog post for it. I was going to stitch the letters, I want to believe in, I think just blanc. So I bought a bunch of it because I was like, yeah, that's what you do. But then the more I looked at it, I was like, you can't really tell that it's not stitched, and why would I do more work for the same result? And usually I'm a perfectionist, but this time I was like, no, it's fine. I'm not going to stitch the letters. And I'm glad I didn't, because by the time I finished, I was like, I don't want to look at this ever again. But yeah, I finished this on December like 30th or 31st of 2022. So it took me around 2 years of working on a little bit and then setting it down for like 2 months and then working on a little bit. I took a lot of breaks because it was just a lot of color block. And then last month I finally was like, okay, I gotta go get this framed. And I went to a local frame store and I paid to have it framed, and it was like really, really, really expensive. It's like $300. Oh my gosh. You know, I'm not saying it's not worth it because I worked for a really long time, and I think I will always have my big pieces professionally framed because I don't want to screw them up. But it hurt a little bit. So I'm glad I did, and now I'm just going to wait like 5 or 6 months and then eventually hang it up somewhere when I'm done putting that off. And then these aren't fully finished, but they are finished, and I'm currently working on some tiny art stitches. I bought a huge pack of patterns from the Stitch Patterns on Etsy, and so I really wanted to take a bunch of these and stitch up all the ones that I really liked, and then find some frames, maybe spray paint them gold. I figured I'd go thrifting or something, and then put them in there and make like a mini gallery wall. And then last week I found out that like there's like Stitch Talk, like there's like stitchers on TikTok, and I was like, oh, so I started following a bunch of people, and I found this woman who she's literally doing that already. So I didn't copy her, we just tangentially had the same idea. But she's actually framing her own, like she's making the frames and everything, and it looks really cute. I'm not that talented. But so far I have the Scream. I've done American Gothic, which I loved his little glasses here. They're really cute. He kind of looks like my granddad. The Dance, or the Dancers, I can't remember which, but I love the color combination on this one. This is Nighthawks, and I feel like this is just such a class. I love this painting. It's got such a comfy vibe. I'm fairly confident I'm holding this one the right way. This is composition in, I think it's like red, yellow, and blue or something like that. Some combination of those colors. This was such a quick, easy stitch because it's just like, I did all of the black and then I just colored it in with the colors. It was like a little coloring book. And then this one was definitely one of my favorites to stitch up. I did this one really fast in like a day and a half. This is the Kiss. I love the colors in this. So yeah, that's quite literally everything that I have stitched that I have kept for myself. Everything else I've given away. That's 12 years of stitching, and that's all I have for myself. So we're pretty much stitching for ourselves from here on out. I mean, I'm gonna make gifts here and there, but I've given away so much and I kind of miss it. So let's move on to my current whips. I don't have a ton of whips going right now, but I have a feeling that's going to change very soon, quite drastically. Like I said, I used to be completely monogamous stitcher. I just felt like I had to finish one project before I was allowed to finish the next. I'm very type A, and so I just feel, or I have always felt like I really need to do one task in full before I can move to the next. Recently, I have learned to take a deep breath and ease up, and wow, life is just so much more fun when you do that. So I've started several projects, and I pick whichever one I'm in the mood for at the time, instead of forcing myself to slog along when I'm just not feeling one. So my main project that I am putting most of my focus into right now is the Epic Generation 1 Pokemon cross stitch from Lord, is it Libidin? I don't know how to say his handle. And I started this on January 1st of 2023, literally the day after I finished the X-Files cross stitch. I was like, all right, let's do the next full coverage. This is, I think it's like 115,200 stitches, I think, in total. I'm 14% done. This is, first of all, it was really hard to find a piece of fabric that was big enough, because at the time I wasn't aware of some of the resources that you could use. I bought a piece off of Amazon. This is 18 count Ada. It was the worst. I wish I hadn't bought it from them because it was so dirty. It was in a sealed bag and it was filthy and wrinkled, and I washed it and I had to use my entire bathtub because the piece of fabric was so big. I realized, because not all the dirt came out, I was like, well, it's full coverage. Who cares? It's not going to show up. So I have this much. I'm doing pretty well, I would say. This one's fun to stitch because it has a lot of colors. I know some people don't like to deal with a lot of colors, but you know, when you're using a certain set of colors, it's kind of concentrated, so it feels like 150 mini patterns. These are all the colors for that project. I just pulled all the bobbins and I put them in these two boxes. They used to fit in one box until I got the Pip and Chip bobbins, and they're a little bit thicker, so yeah, it's gonna take me a while. The X-Files one took me about 2 years to stitch, and that was half the size, roughly. But I also set that down a lot, and I took breaks for a couple months at a time. This one I've been stitching on at least twice a week pretty consistently. So I feel like it'll still take me about 2 years, but at double the time, maybe it'll take longer. I don't know. I stitch more in the winter for sure because I'm not going as many places. So we'll see. I don't want to put a timestamp on it because I am enjoying it. And I do want to do Gen 2 as well when this one's done, and then have them framed together. So it'll be a while before this one gets FFO'd, but you know, it's going to be fun. Next I have, this one's Let's Eat Trash and Get Hit by Cars. And this is by I'll Be Darn Goods on Etsy. I started this on the 12th of June, so very recently. But I didn't have two of the colors. The pink that are used for the feet and the nose and mouth and stuff. So it is 100 and some stitches away from being done. It won't take, this is all Ort, what the heck. And then clearly I didn't do any kind of sealing. I stitched this in a Q-snap knockoff, and I really liked it. It's my first time ever using something like that. I've got the other two colors now, so I will probably bang this out by the end of the month. It won't take me that long. And this is 14 count Ada. I haven't stitched on 14 count in so long. I forgot how to do it almost. All my full coverage pieces I've done on 18 count because I'm I don't have the thread to be stitching. I'm covered in Ada fragments. I was I don't have the thread to be stitching a project that big on 14 count. It's so big. But this is such a cute little simple pattern. I feel like simple, cute, and small patterns look better on 14 count because it gives them a little kind of chunky factor, and that's what I liked about this. Also, I just love them. They're so precious. I showed this to my boyfriend as I was stitching it, and he goes, yeah, that's you. And I was like, thanks, I guess. But yeah, it's almost done. We're almost there. The one thing I did find annoying about stitching this is I am never sure what size needle I'm supposed to use because I really like a size 28, but I also, like I said, mostly stitch on 18 count. And I Googled it and they were like, yeah, you should use a size 28 needle for 18 count. You should use a size 24 needle for 14 count, I believe. So I bought some needles to fit this fabric, and I feel like the needle's too big. Like, it's just too chunky. So I might just never use that again. I don't know. And then the last whip I have to show you, I don't have much to show for it. You can see there's like barely any light blue on there. This is the next one that I'm doing in my mini paintings series, all of these. And I just pre-cut a bunch of this fabric because when I did that X-Files piece, there was like just a weird shaped cut of it left. So I just cut it all into these little squares for the art pieces. This one I started on the 15th of June, and I started looking at the pattern. I pulled everything out and I started looking at the pattern. I started stitching on it, and I realized I had like one color for out of like the 10 that this one needs. And I was like, what the heck? And so I kind of started it, you know, you saw there was like 20 stitches in it maybe. And then I was like, well, I don't want to have to count to like some other spot and then miscount, and then I was just annoyed. So I have since got the rest of the colors. You'll see why in my haul portion, but I will probably work on this more once I get those all on bobbins. And that's it for my current whips. I'm actually going to start some more soon, so we'll talk about that in plans. And just, I don't have any cute project bags. I bought like a big like collection of these types of project bags from Amazon. They have like a rainbow of colors, and that's all I'm using right now, but I'm hoping to make some of my own project bags. I just ordered what is going on? I just ordered a bunch of fat quarters, and I'm gonna try my hand at making some project bags, but we'll see. So for my haul portion, obviously most people show what they've gotten since their last video, but this is my first video, so I'm just gonna tell you some of the stuff that I've picked up pretty much in the last month. This has been, can I just say, a very indulgent month for me. So don't expect future months to look like this because they're not gonna, they better not. But yeah, I picked up a few things, so let's talk about it. I'm gonna go like store by store. I may have purchased these at separate times from the stores, but I just figure it's easier to group them by shop. So let's start with Etsy because I got a few digital patterns. So I bought 2 patterns from Past Pattern Palooza, and I got just mini plant motifs and mini frog motifs. It's like a big collection of just little tiny motifs. I had no plans when I bought this, which usually I don't buy patterns without plans. I'm kind of surprised with myself, but I just wanted them. They're cute, they're vintage. I don't know, maybe I could make some buttons or something, like pin backs, and they seem like they're gonna be small enough. I got the plants because I like plants a lot. I've gotten really into greenery just in the past like 2 to 3 years, and I got the frogs because my boyfriend is obsessed with frogs. He's a frog boy. And so every time I see frogs, I think of him, and so I thought, that's cute. And then I picked up 2 patterns from Cross Stitch Traveler on Etsy, and it's like, I was going through Etsy and like adding all this stuff to my favorites, and then you know how sometimes shops are like, hey, we saw you favorited our thing, here's a discount, and that's what happened with this. And so then I bought these 2 patterns because they were fairly cheap. So the first one says relax, I have a spreadsheet for that, or maybe it just says I have a spreadsheet for that, I can't remember, but it's very, like I said earlier, I'm very type A, love spreadsheets. I have spreadsheets for everything. I have a spreadsheet to track all of my nail polish. I have a spreadsheet to track gifts that I want to buy for people. I have a spreadsheet to track budgets and I have a spreadsheet to track all of my patterns and the current status that they're in. So like I have a lot of spreadsheets. So I thought about stitching that up and putting it somewhere near my desktop at home because, you know, I just thought it'd be cute. And then they have this one, this is the one that really got me. It says, "Be nicer to yourself, you dumb bitch." And yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Like that's how I feel like my inner voice is, constantly insulting myself. But yeah, that, I mean, why do you think I'm called the Subpar Stitches? Like I just really like kind of self-deprecating humor. So I thought that was really funny, and I definitely want to stitch that one up. And that's one I want to do in a hoop finish, and I want to maybe like paint the hoop in like a pastel or something like that. I'm not sure. We'll see. We haven't gotten that far. We haven't even started it yet. So, okay. Then I made an order to Joann's, and the entire reason I made the order was I knew that I was going to do a monocolored sampler, which I'll show you later. And I decided that instead of buying a ton of 310, because I'm sick of buying like 9 skeins of 310 for every project that I do that uses black, I decided to buy a cone. And I bought a cone. A cone. This is a cone. It is approximately 2,100 meters of DMC 310. I will never run out of 310. Bury me in my coffin with what is left of this when I die, because I can't use all of this. So that was insane. Cones they're not cheap. I mean, they're cheaper than buying this much thread at once. But you know, I don't know. I'm always paranoid about dye lots. And so I always want the dye lots to match. And then, you know, there's always like 1 or 2 left over from one project, but I can't use them for the next big project because then the dye lot won't match what I buy at the store. So this just solves that problem. Okay, my camera died. All I remember is that I was complaining about matching up dye lots. But yeah, I was like, I'm just going to buy a cone because I saw Joann's had like, it was either 40% off or 50% off a single item. And that brought this down to like $26 or something like that for the entire cone. And then I was like, well, I gotta get other stuff to get free shipping, right? So I picked up a bunch of needles in varying sizes. I keep them in these, they're like lip gloss tins. Oh my gosh, I almost spilled all my needles. I keep them in these like lip gloss tins that I bought off of Amazon. And then as you can see, I've used some of my abundance of stickers to label them. So it's just like a nice little thing to have. You can never have enough needles, right? You're always breaking them or losing them. I also got like a super cheap little needle threader. It looks like an umbrella. Because I thought I had one, but I didn't. And I really needed one because I was struggling. I'm getting old. I can't see as well anymore. No, that's not true. I have 20/20 vision. Thank you. No, I was having a hard time re-threading some of my needles when the thread gets really frayed, like towards the end of like stitching. And instead of like giving up and cutting it and just doing a new piece of thread, I'm stubborn, so I got this. How I've been stitching for 12 years without one, I don't know. I swear I used to have one. I don't lose things, so I don't know. I got this Q-snap that's not really a Q-snap. It's Frank A. Edmonds. I didn't check the brand, but I always wanted to try a Q-snap, so I was like, oh, I'll get this, and then I forgot that it's not a Q-snap. So I don't know if this is better or worse than the actual Q-snap brand. I'll probably pick up the Q-snap brand ones at some point because this is really nice, but I feel like it's like the 8-inch one, so like the inside is only like 6 inches across, I think. It's not big enough for some of the projects I want to do because I don't really like covering up. Like, I'm always afraid to put this or the outside of a hoop or something like that. I don't like putting them on the stitches. I'm just afraid I'm going to ruin them. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I got glow in the dark thread here. I keep calling it thread. I always call it thread. I rarely call it floss, and I know that it is floss, but I just always call it thread. I don't know why. This is E940. It glows in the dark, and I saw it and I was like, I want to do some Halloween stitches because I haven't done much Halloween stuff. And you know, Halloween has a lot of ghosts and bones and things like that, and I figured, what if I subbed this in for any white in a Halloween stitch? That would be fun. And then naturally, of course, if you're gonna do Halloween stitches, you gotta have black. So I got 14 count black Aida, and I already have an idea for what I wanna do with these. And then I was really close to free shipping. I just needed to add one more thing. And so I decided finally, I was like, everybody always talks about linens and even weaves and this and that and all these dyed fabrics, and I've never used anything like that. So I was like, well, let me branch out. So I got this 28 count even weave, thinking this will be perfect for this pattern that I bought. And I got this, and then the pattern came in, and it's too small for the pattern. It would have given me like ½ an inch of leeway on either side, not enough to frame it or anything. I was too nervous, so I have set this aside for other projects, nice to have on hand, and I placed a different order. Oh, this is random, but on Amazon I got these like magnets where you can like roll up your excess fabric and like clip it together, because I have a feeling they're gonna come in handy with this. Yeah, I haven't used them yet, but they just came in the other day. So then I placed 2 separate orders on 123 Stitch, and the first order I made, I got this pattern. I probably ought to just take it out of the plastic because it's gonna reflect if I don't. It's called Pavane for These Times, I think. Maybe this is pronounced differently, I'm not sure. This is by Long Dog Samplers. This is my first pattern from them. It is 199 by 235 stitches. This is what I was originally going to stitch on the even weave. Too small. It's much too small. And I'm actually planning on starting this today when I'm done with this video, but I'm excited. Previously, I've never really been interested in Quaker style samplers. At a glance, I just was kind of like blowing them off, but as I've been, I don't know if it's just like with age or just seeing, like deep diving into more, I'm very interested in them. This one I really liked. I liked the quote on it. It says, "Turn your face to the sun and the shadows fall behind you." I thought that was really nice. And it's nice because it's all one color. I mean, I guess I could do multiple colors if I really wanted to, but I mean, when you have a cone, you don't need multiple colors. So then I placed a second order on 123 Stitch because my first piece of fabric didn't work out, and I picked up a 1/4 yard of 28 count Springfield Sage Lugana, and this is my first time getting a piece of fabric like this. I am excited. I think I'm gonna stitch with this in hand. I think that sounds a little bit crazy, but I think I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna should probably go over 2, shouldn't I? I've never had to stitch like over 1 or over 2. I haven't really had to think about it because with Aida, you pretty much always stitch, at least the Aida that I've stitched on, you pretty much always stitch over 1. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to make a decision. But yeah, like I said, this is in Sage, and I picked this color because I thought white was gonna be way too stark for black stitching, and I wanted something a little softer, a little bit more subtle looking. So I thought that this would kind of help tone down the black, and it's just so, oh my gosh, I've only ever stitched on Aida, so like having a fabric that just is so soft and supple and like bendy is crazy because Aida's so crunchy, you know? And when it said sage on the website, I was worried it was going to be too green. Not that I don't love green, but this is like a gray-green, green-gray, and this is exactly what I was hoping for. So then the other thing that I got is, this was fully influenced by Cam the Stitcher. I don't know when I'm going to stitch this, but this is from the Snowman Collector series. This is the clown. She showed these on her channel. She's been picking them up slowly, I think, as they've been coming out. This is from the Cottage Garden Samplings. And as soon as she showed this clown, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so adorable. I used to be terrified of clowns. I don't know what it was. I was one of those kids that was like afraid to go to McDonald's because I was afraid of the clown. But as I've gotten older, I respect clowns. You know, I see what they're putting down. I like them. And my grandma, she really loves snowmen. So whenever I see a snowman, I think of her. And so, oh, this is a colored pattern. Oh, that's interesting. I literally got home and ripped it out of the package and then sat down to film. But my favorite part of this pattern is he's juggling snowballs, and I'm dying to stitch this. This uses 9 DMC and then 2 Weeks Dye Works. I've never used anything but DMC, so I don't know if I'm going to sub in the DMC because it does have the DMC alternates on here, which is nice. I'm glad they do that. Or if I'm going to use or start branching out into other threads or flosses or whatever. We'll make that decision when we kit this out. Okay, and then the last bit of haul, it's actually from 2 separate stores, and this is crazy, and I cannot believe that I did this. I can't believe I spent this much on my cross-stitching hobby, but I did, so I want to show you guys because I'm smitten. I love it. I don't know where I'm going to put it yet, but I'm so excited. So I bought the DMC vintage chest. I love her. She's beautiful. It's got like this lid here, and then 5 separate drawers where you can store your DMC. It comes with every single mainline DMC color. I think like 500 skeins or something like that. Crazy. It also comes with the color card, so you can reference all the colors, your little heart desires. It's not the thread one, which for the cost of this, I would love to see the thread one come with this, but this is still nice to have. It's a great reference. And it came with like a little book on the history of DMC. I haven't pawed through this too much because I literally just opened this box like an hour ago. I filmed the unboxing for this, so if you guys are interested, I might edit it down and post it as like an extra. I'm not really sure, but inside this box is the other purchase I made. So I'm going to set this down and just pull a drawer out to show you. So inside I have the entire Pip and Chip bobbin set from England, which is also really expensive. My bank account is crying right now. These are really nice acrylic bobbins, and they all have the DMC color code as well as the color just like permanently on top of the bobbin. It won't rub off, it won't like come off like the stickers do, and these are really durable. Like I said, they're acrylic. They have like a little circle here so you can put them on a ring if you want. And I got the inserts that they are specially made for not only this chest but like these bobbins. And it's perfect. And so as you can see, a lot of these don't have the floss on them yet because I only had maybe 200 colors. I say only, but I had a decent collection of DMC floss, but I didn't have every color. Well, now I have every color. I don't have, you know, all the special effects stuff, but all the main colors, they're in here. And I'm going to bobbinate them. Is bobbinate a real word? Did we just collectively make that up as a community? Because every time I hear that word, I'm just like, that's fake, right? We're not actually saying this. But yeah, I will be bobbinating them. And I strand cut my threads before I bobbinate them. So I cut them all down into size. And I can't, what is it, like 8 separate strands because I do a loop start, so they got to be a little bit longer. I pre-cut them all and then I put them on the bobbin and then it's all ready. It takes a lot of extra time at the beginning, but then when you're kitting something out, it makes it so easy. You just pull off one or a couple strands depending on the size of the project. Perfect. You're done. I am type A. Okay? Very type A. And the Pip and Chip bobbins, you can buy them for other brands as well, not just DMC, but like I'm a DMC gal. So, and the full set came with it comes with one of every color except for it comes with 2 310s, 2 B5200s, 2 blanc or white, and then 2 ecru, like the raw color. So because those are just colors that you use often, I put both the 310s in here, but I didn't put the extra white Ecru or B5200 because I don't keep double bobbins of that typically. So I'll put these probably in the top portion of that chest, but you know, I'm so excited about this chest. I can't wait to wind bobbins for the next week and a half. So that's it for haul. I know, it was so small. Hillary, what were you thinking? So let's just talk about plans real quick and then I will be done. So as you can see from my haul, I've really set myself up for success here. I'm ready to stitch everything forever. So what are my plans for the next couple weeks before I don't know, film another video? I don't know how frequently I'm going to be posting. I feel like a lot of people post every 2 weeks, but some people only post once a month. So we'll see what works, how much I can get done, you know? So first and foremost, I'm definitely going to finish the Let's Eat Trash stitch. Like I said, it's got like 100 or so stitches left. It's just 2 pinks, which are in the bags on the floor that I just showed you because I didn't have those 2 colors, but now I do. That'll take me a single session. It's an easy get. I'm not worried about it. I can finish that by the end of June. I'm going to also finish that Son of Man mini art cross stitch. It usually only takes me 2 to 5 days to finish one of those mini art cross stitches, depending on how much time I really want to put into it. But now that I have all the colors, I can finish that one too. That was really the only thing holding me back on that one. I want to start, but not necessarily finish another one of those mini arts. My goal has been to do 1 a month this year. And so far I've achieved that, but now I feel like 1 a month is too slow. I'd like to bang them out a little bit faster. So 2 a month would be good. I finished, I did The Kiss this month and I'll finish Son of Man this month. So that's 2. And then I'd like to start Van Gogh's Starry Night because that one just looks like a lot of fun to stitch. It's like swirly and blue, you know? Right after I finish cleaning up the mess that I've made, I'm gonna go sit in my living room, watch House because I've been obsessed with it. I've been marathoning that. I think that Hugh Laurie is one of the hottest men on earth and everyone's telling me I'm wrong and I'm right. So I'm gonna go sit there, I'm gonna marathon House, and I'm gonna stitch this entire top line at least, at the very minimum. My brand new soft fabric. I'm excited. I'm gonna stitch it in hand. I think I'm gonna do it. Is that crazy to do? Should I not do that? Is this too big to stitch in hand? I always love, I just prefer stitching in hand with smaller stuff. And then for really big stuff, I use a frame. And then everything in between, I don't know what I'm doing. So I think I'm gonna stitch it in hand. We'll see how that goes. My goal for this month is just to do the solid line on the outside of the border, get that border laid down, and then it'll feel like, oh, I can see the size of it. Because sometimes when you can't see the full size of your stitch, when it's not outlined, you're like, where does it end? You feel like there's no end in sight. Not that you want it to end, but you know, it's nice to know the parameters of what you're stitching. So I'd like to lay down this entire outside border. There's a smaller border on the inside. I'm not gonna finish that this month, I don't think, but just the solid line one so that I can get a feel for the size of this. And yeah, that's probably all I'll finish in June on this. There's this silly little frog pixel art that I found that is kind of the same size as that Adventure Time bee I showed you earlier. And I want to just do that. That should take me like an hour, hour and a half to stitch up, because plastic canvas is sometimes a little bit harder for me to stitch on just because it's so chunky. I don't know. You'd think it'd be easier, but I'm like, this is so hard. But I want to make another little magnet out of that, so I could probably FFO that very easily in like a couple hours. I want to finish page 2 on my Pokemon cross stitch. I kind of oscillate between stitching all the way across, like a 10 by 10 row or square, a row of 10 by 10 squares, and then sometimes I start stitching down the page. So I'm almost done with page 2. I fully finished page 1. So I would really, really like to finish page 2. I think it would feel good to complete that. I don't think there's too much left, maybe like 300 or 400 stitches. So maybe this weekend, because sometimes on the weekend, like I will just stitch for like 7 hours. My boyfriend's like, annoyed. He's like, what are you doing? Like, let's do something fun. And I'm like, I am doing something fun. But I might just bang that out this weekend. I know there's only 10 days left in the month, and I'm like, here's all my goals for June. But yeah, I think I could finish that. And then last but not least, I don't know. I don't want to throw out too many crazy goals, but I would like to start that be nice to yourself, you dumb bitch stitch. And I think it would look nice on this even weave that I bought and was the wrong size for the other project I was going to do. So I think I might start it on this, and that will help to give me a little bit more familiarity, because this is interesting, because I'm still learning like what fabrics are. I'm 30 years old. I'm like, what's fabric? I thought Lugana was technically even weave, right? Isn't it technically a type of even weave? Don't know. But this is really soft and flexible, and this is kind of stiff. So the difference in these is really interesting to me. But yeah, oh my god, that was a very long video. I'm so sorry. That's it for my first video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I really hope to make a lot of fun friends here in the Flosstube community. I'm really excited to start this channel and talk to a lot of you guys. So let me know any of your feedback down below. I'm still kind of learning how to structure this video. I watch a lot of Flosstube, but I kind of forget everything that I've ever known the second I sit in front of a camera. So we'll see. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys in a couple weeks when I have a little bit more progress to show you. But that's going to be it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.